Guild Battlegrounds just got a huge update, especially for Diamond League guilds. Here's everything that you need to know about these new changes, how they'll affect your rewards, and why the Battlegrounds might be getting more competitive. Let's start with the Guild Championship. Think of it like a group of 6 Guild Battleground seasons, so 12 weeks long. All this championship does is change the rewards that you can get for placing in the top 3 guilds during the season. For this first championship, you can get fragments of the Tower of Champions. More on that building later. After this championship ends, the fragments of the Tower of Champions will be replaced with some other reward. We don't yet know what this will be. It's important to note that this championship is just a period of 12 weeks. It does not mean that you're matched with the same 8 guilds for all your battlegrounds for the entire championship. You also don't get anything special for ranking first in the championship when it ends. The rewards still come exclusively from fighting individual battles and from the end of each 10-day season. You'll be able to see the time remaining in the championship and the reward you get for finishing in first by clicking on this Diamond League trophy. As I mentioned earlier, the first reward you can get from the championship is the Tower of Champions. If you place in first, you get 3,000 fragments of its kit. Second gives you 1,000 fragments, and third gives you only 500. You get no fragments of the Tower of Champions for placing in fourth or below. This kit takes 7,500 fragments to assemble, which means that at the minimum, you must place in first at least once. How you get the remaining 4,500 fragments to get the full kit is up to you, but here's all the available possibilities. To get the level 2 Tower of Champions, you must place first in 5 of the 6 seasons of the championship. If you are able to receive enough fragments for the 4x4 Tower of Champions, you'll be pleased to know that the level 1 provides a 12 to 50% attack and defense boost for all Guild Battlegrounds armies, a 36 to 103% attack and defense boost for all Guild Expedition armies, 18 forge points, and 100 guild goods. In case that isn't enough, it also will not require a road connection. If you're lucky enough to get the full complement of 15,000 fragments needed for 2 Tower of Champions kits, you'll be able to upgrade your tower to provide a 23 to 80% attack and defense boost for all Guild Battlegrounds armies, a 55 to 155% attack and defense boost for all Guild Expeditions armies, 40 forge points, and 400 guild goods. Remember though, it will be a battle to get all the fragments needed for this new building. Speaking of fragments, there's a second new building that you can get fragments of. The Tourney Grounds, a 3x4 limited building, is up for grabs as a reward after fights or negotiations. You'll need 500 fragments to assemble this building that only lasts 14 days, but provides a 30 to 125% attack and defense boost for all Guild Battlegrounds armies and a 73 to 207% attack and defense boost for all Guild Expeditions armies. This building also will not require a road. However, do be aware that you can only get the fragments of this building in the Diamond League of the Battlegrounds. Currently, it seems like there is a roughly 1 in 8 chance of getting a fragment of this building after every fight. So you'll need to do 4,000 fights per season, about 400 per day, if you want to get a new one every 14 days. That means that you'll have to be able to fight to at least 80 attrition. That's right, attrition has now been changed too. Instead of the old system where you could place enough siege camps to essentially fight forever without gaining any attrition, you will now always end up gaining attrition over time. Attrition reduction has now been capped at 80%. What this means is that even though you might have enough province buildings to have well over 100% attrition reduction, say 60% from one province and 60% from another, once they add up to over 80%, those province buildings won't help anymore and you'll be stuck at that 80% limit. In other words, at best, you'll gain attrition once every 5 fights. The good news, though, is that attrition was made slightly easier depending on how far you can fight. In most cases, you'll be able to reach 5-ish higher attrition, but this chart shows the full comparison. If you used to be able to fight until, say, 100 attrition, you can now reach roughly 103 attrition. That isn't to say that you can fight forever now. Attrition is still capped, but now at level 250, with 24,000% enemy boosts and negotiations costing 279 goods per option. I doubt you'll be negotiating though, so this chart shows the different attrition gain per attrition level. You now have to reach 200 attrition to hit the previous cap of 12,000%, after which the enemy boosts increase rapidly. Also, each province will now have an indicator showing what the attrition reduction on it will be. Red is for the most attrition gain, orange is somewhere in the middle, and blue means that you're close to that maximum of 80%. You can switch this detailed view by pressing this button or the D key on your keyboard. Do be aware, though, that provinces will now require 200 advances to acquire on the Waterfall Archipelago map and 200 on the Volcano map. That means to take a province fully by yourself, even at 80% attrition reduction, you will gain at least 40 or 44 attrition depending on the map and province buildings. The good news is that with each fight, you'll not only gain attrition, but also some rewards like the fragments of the Tourney Grounds. You'll also get fragments of 2 new selection kits, the Guild Battlegrounds Elephant Kit, which lets you choose between the Iridescent Garden or level 1 and upgrades for the Great Elephant Building, and the Guild Battlegrounds Statue Kit, which lets you choose between the Roads to Victory or level 1 and upgrades for the Statue of Honor. You'll only need 100 fragments to assemble these kits. And as before, you can only get the Elephant Kit on the Waterfall Archipelago map and the Statue Kit on the Volcano map. Now, what about diamonds? Good news, they're still there. And now you get 45 diamonds instead of 25 when you win them in the Diamond League. However, it does seem like the odds of winning diamonds has been reduced a little, meaning that you should get roughly the same amount of diamonds per fight as before. Goods are also mostly the same. As for forge points, you'll now make a few less per fight, but should still be able to get plenty. What I do know the exact values for are the new province buildings. We have a total of 9 new buildings to place down. Siege camps have been removed entirely, but you can still place all of the other province buildings that you know and love. The new buildings are broken into 3 categories of buildings with different levels. The guild field camp can only be placed on the starting province for your guild on the map, and will not only reduce attrition on the surrounding provinces, but boost the amount of victory points that you receive from all of your provinces for the entire season. For these wonderful boosts, you will have to pay 25,000 to 75,000 guild goods, but will get from 26 to 80% attrition reduction and 25 to 100% more victory points. Note that the starting province will only have 1 building slot. The barracks will function somewhat like the siege camps, providing attrition reduction from 20 to 60%, but also increasing the number of advances needed to take a province by 5 to 30%. These will cost you between 2,800 and 6,800 guild goods. Quite similarly to the barracks, the guild command posts will give attrition reduction of 20 to 60%, increase the number of advances required to take the province by 5 to 30%, and will also boost the number of victory points that the province will provide by 15 to 100%. Oddly, these only cost at most 200 more goods than the barracks, between 2,900 and 7,000 goods. Prepare your guild treasuries. This Battlegrounds update also brings some nice quality of life changes to the feature. Every province on the map will now have at least 1 building slot to put down any one of the province buildings, so you should be able to always have a little bit of attrition reduction wherever you fight. In even better news, you'll now be able to see which guildmates of yours are choosing to only fight on high attrition reduction provinces and aren't helping the rest of the time, as the guild leaderboard will now include everyone's current attrition. In a different leaderboard, the main global guild rankings, the default view will now be one that shows guild rankings only by Guild Battlegrounds performance. It is sorted by the number of league points you currently have, then by the number of battlegrounds that you've won, and then by the number of victory points that you've achieved across all of your completed battlegrounds. You can still see the old leaderboard by clicking this button at the bottom, or a similar but different button on mobile. This is the one that ranks guilds based on prestige and is heavily dominated by archaic features like guild versus guild. It'll be interesting to see how this affects alliances, but until that all gets sorted, consider checking out the videos linked on screen. Don't forget to join my Discord to stay up to date on all the latest Forge of Empires news, and as always, I'll see you all next time.